This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, April 5th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, the podcast all about home automation, home technology, all sorts of fun stuff. Hey, Gavin, guess what? I updated our HomeTech.social server. You can do searches now.
The April Fool's was last week.
That's messed up.
Why would you mess with me? That's like saying, hey,
That's
DJ,
so
the Sonos headphones got released.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like...
I would personally come to your house.
You mess with my emotions. Yeah, my emotions. Like, I'm hurt.
I didn't see any good April Fool's jokes this year.
Oh, wait. So you really didn't? Or you did?
No, I didn't update anything.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that, just to make sure. But why are you messing with me like that for?
I'll do it one day. I promise. Dude, I'll do it.
He doesn't sound convinced.
No, he doesn't. It's on the things to do list. I want to do it. I want to do it right. I want to upgrade the server at the same time.
If it makes you feel any better, Gavin, it's actually behind the exhaust fan for the kitchen. So it might take a little while to get to.
It's actually part of the same project.
Oh,
don't ask
part
how
of the same
or why,
project, man.
I'm so confused.
I know that Josh AI, they do a fun little April Fool's thing every year. This year they did Neural Josh, which is a chip I guess you plant into your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And you can think about how to control your smart home, which would actually be kind of cool. I'd like that.
At least 5 people read this and they're like, yeah, no, sign me up right now. I'll do this.
Put the chip in me.
There was that story going around about Elon Musk's Neuralink. And the first guy that supposedly got it and lived to tell about it, I'm sure. I think he's partially disabled or mostly disabled. And it was funny because like everybody kept talking about the first thing he did was play Civilization, which I think is, hilarious because if you're in that situation, that's probably all you want to do is you just want to play video games.
Yeah, exactly.
And he played Civilization. So more power to him.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I mean, yeah. I don't remember that happening. Like I didn't see that story, but I'll have to go check it out now.
Oh yeah,
that sounds pretty cool. I don't think I'd let Elon Musk implant any chips in my brain though.
Well, probably not.
Even if I couldn't play Civilization, I don't think that would happen.
It's like, do I trust you?
No.
Am I going to become racist after this?
Yeah. Am I going to unexpectedly purchase things I can't afford and then run them into the ground? Yeah. I did finally update my Twitter bio. I logged in to see if they had given me a free blue check. They had not. So
wait, you updated your Twitter bio before the Mastodon server?
Where is your allegiance lie?
Oh yeah, I feel like this is messed up.
I know.
I had to update it to put where I'd moved to. I'd said move to the Seth at HomeTech.social. So yeah.
Okay.
I noticed that people had been replying to me there, and I haven't answered them. So yeah. If you are on Twitter and you are following me there, the fun has moved over onto the Mastodon server. Even though you can't search like Gavin wants to, the fun is still there. So
if this podcast gets 5 reviews, Seth will update the Mastodon server.
Ooh.
Set the bar a little lower. 1 review. We're just looking for 1 review for this podcast to get Seth to upgrade this. I've been bugging him for the longest time. When current events happen, I can't search for them on Mastodon.
Why do you even use it?
I have to go back to X. I know. Well, I have some good followers on Mastodon. I enjoy the followers on Mastodon. When I post a question, I get a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, even one of the Home Assistant developers are on there, and they like some of my comments. I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mastodon's fun. You have to follow people. Like, there's no algorithm putting stuff into your eyes. So, like, if you don't follow anybody, nothing shows up. So you just have to, like, go in and just put people on. And what I did for the first couple of weeks was like, oh, they said something interesting, follow, and then let that run until it filled up and I couldn't read it all in a sitting or something like that. And then I unfollow people. I don't think I unfollowed anybody yet, but it's a full timeline now. It's all pretty good stuff and stuff that I kind of want to see and read about. So yeah, yay team, go Mastodon. I found this funny little thing. It's not April Fool's, but I did find this funny little story about someone. Here's the title. It kind of caught my eye. The Wi-Fi only works when it's raining. And he goes on to talk about something that we're all familiar with, going over to your parents' house and fixing their internet. The complaint was the Wi-Fi only works when it's raining. And it's a fun little story about how he went and troubleshooted all that stuff. And it kind of got down towards the end. I was like, oh, I know what this is. I kind of figured out what they're talking about and why they did it. There's a line of sight Wi-Fi bridge. Of course, what could cause that. Something has grown into the way. And it kind of reminded me, like, a lot of times I'd go over to somebody's house to do a service call, and like 5 years after they put the cameras in or whatever, there's palm trees that have been installed and they've just grown up in front of the cameras, so you can't see them anymore. And this is kind of a story in that vein. So it's a fun little read. Kind of interesting to see what he did to kind of like go around and swap stuff out. But it sounded like they had some pretty old equipment in there too. So it's kind of needed to be updated anyway.
That is pretty funny. I'll have to give this a full read later on. But
let's just say nature does not care about your Wi-Fi or your cameras, and it will grow right in front of
yes, it does.
Anything and everything.
It's also the reason I don't like install anything before like the designer gets everything installed, like the pictures and furniture and everything, because something is gonna change. I'm gonna have to redo it anyway. Nature is even less forgiving.
No, yeah, because nature doesn't care at all. I mean, neither does the designer. They were in there first. But yeah, nature, like, it's so funny. Like, there's one guy I know. He has a boat dock that's like way out, and he installed this like really expensive PTZ camera so you could see the end of his boat dock, right? And then they planted one of these giant palm trees in front of it, and the palm tree just like grew, and now you can't see anything. Like, this camera's useless. It's utterly like all you see is the palm
so much
tree.
money on that camera.
Yeah, and the thing is like with NVRs, like I mean I don't know about other places, but TJ, if you remember here, NVRs, anything that is a palm frond that's blowing in the wind, that's instant movement. It's something. It's classified as like you cannot mask that out. Same thing with water on pools. Same thing, like rippling water on pools. I can't mask that out. You just have to cut that out. I doubt they've figured that out yet. But at least now with the AI object detection on the camera, it's gotten a little bit better. You can mask out the pool or detect people walking around or objects or animals and that kind of thing. But the palm fronds still get my Unify system. Like, it still classifies movement and people coming from the palms blowing around in the front yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a service call the other day for a camera we installed, and it was for alarm.com, and they have like motion, like a monthly allotment of motion clips that they allow you to have. And they already blew through their like 3,000 motion clips within like 4 days. And come to find out, there was a flag that was waving back and forth and just setting off the motion detection.
There you go.
I was like, well, that solves that problem. Let's go ahead and just get rid of that flag. Thank you.
Just gonna take the flag down.
We don't need that.
All right. Well, I don't know. Palm trees, don't like them. They're everywhere in Florida. Can't get rid of them. I don't know about trees up north. Have they figured out trees, like the trees that actually have they're actually real trees and not...
We have trees.
Do trees blowing around in the wind? Did they set off your motion detection on cameras up there as bad?
Well, it's not a lot of the trees, honestly, just because it depends on where the camera's at, but a lot of the light changes still mess up cameras here. And so that obviously gets kind of reflected with the trees throughout the daytime. And so I find the daylight or the light change itself messes with cameras more than trees at this moment.
Like a cloud passing over?
Yeah, it's stuff like that, or just like the sun shining through the tree canopy and reflected on like the grass or whatever, and then that sets it off.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
it's like a shadow or something.
Yeah,
shadows. Yeah. On Blue Iris, it gets triggered a lot. Things like rain, snow, or like shadows or trees, it will trigger it a lot. But because I use AI, it then filters out that trigger and says, okay, there's no person there or no animal there. So then I don't have to notify you or record it. But it on those days, my computer, you could see it, the video card, the GPU is working away a lot because it's constantly being triggered.
Mm-hmm. Common problem everywhere, I'm sure.
Can't get rid of it. I mean, we all want the cameras, but they all underperform in some particular way. So,
well, that's why you need the smarter notifications now. I mean, I pretty much don't use like regular motion notifications.
Yeah,
it's always like people or vehicle or something like that. Just because it's not foolproof by any means. Like sometimes the light change still messes that up, but at least it's a lot better than just randomly triggering it for everything.
Makes sense. Well, that's our bit of advice today. Well, I guess we have some more advice coming up later in the show. Ooh. We got some mailbag things to kind of go over, and cameras is one of them. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more. But we do have a couple of HomeTech headlines. So what do you say we jump in and talk about them?
Let's do it.
All right. First off here, this is kind of just like a little quick update on the Node.js Z-Wave module.
Yep.
NPM module, right? It's been updated. Now supports the Z-Wave long range.
Woo!
Finally.
This is a big deal, right? I guess.
It is a big deal.
I thought it was kind of weird it didn't already support it.
They were working on it for a while. Like, they don't have many developers that are actually working on it. I think it was mainly one guy at one point.
Yeah, it's just one guy.
Yeah, it was just one guy. But they were working on it, so it's good to see that it's finally been implemented. And it's not in Home Assistant yet, but it'll eventually get there. So eventually, when they integrate it, I wouldn't be surprised if you see it there next month, because I'm not sure if they need to add some different UI elements and stuff to handle it now. But when they do add it, you'll be able to use the Z-Wave 800 long range, which will mean faster, more reliable Z-Wave, and of course, longer range.
Yeah.
There was an article floating around. I sent it to you, Gavin, earlier about how Home Assistant had improved their build times, where they're developing and they want to make the binary file to run the program or whatever. And I was looking at the numbers, whatever they did, because it's Python. I don't really understand Python very well. They have changed, like it's gone from like an hour and a half of compile time to like 15 minutes or something. Like,
yeah,
smoking fast. Like it's just going to be more updates coming from the Home Assistant crew, because they can develop faster now that they redid their tooling or something. And man, that's nice. You know, you don't have to like hit go and wait for it, come back in an hour and a half. No, it's 15 minutes. You go to the bathroom, get a drink, watch a little TV, come back, it's done. So there you go.
Yeah, it was significant differences in times. Like you said, it went from like 2 hours compile time to 15 minutes or something like that. Like, that's huge.
It was insane. Yeah. Good for them. That's it's always nice to do those little tooling improvements, I guess. And so this Node.js may come a little bit faster if they're able to pop it in and test it within 15 minutes. And there you go.
They still got to write the code. It's not like they won't be able to write the code.
They'll be done before I edit this podcast. Let's just say
AI will do it. So
it's already done. Yeah,
it's already done.
The AI finished it before they even asked them to do it. That's how good technology is these days. You wanted this, right?
Yeah, exactly. I ran across this. Speaking of AI, I ran across this video for the Ubiquiti Insider on YouTube, and they have basically made me hate Ubiquiti even more. Like I'm furious at this, because this is so cool. And I hate this. I hate using their product. Like, their cameras aren't great, but holy cow, the experience that they have here for their camera system and things that they're introducing. There's a whole section right at the beginning about the network improvements that they're doing for the software, but probably around, I don't know, a minute in or so, minute 15 in, they go over some of the new feature improvements for Protect 3.0. And not only does like the dashboard when you log in look pretty great, there's a new feature for facial recognition, and it just takes pictures of people and puts them there, and you can name them and it'll remember who they are, and you click on them and you're like, hey, I need to add an alert when this person comes back because they're a person of interest. Within a few clicks, you can classify that person and then say, when I see them, send me an email. And all your cameras are going to be looking around for that person. And when they walk into frame, boom, you get an email. I mean, I hate them so much. Like,
This costs, so I use another camera company called Turing, which I like a lot. I mainly use them for commercial spaces.
mm-hmm.
And I think this per camera is like $150 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to buy the camera and you have to buy the NVR. You can do like micro SD cards and stuff like that. But it's $150 per year per camera. And Ubiquiti's just giving it away.
Just giving it away. And I mean, further on in about a minute 34, minute 54, I don't know. Like, after they talk about the facial recognition stuff, they show the car recognition stuff, which is pretty much the same thing that you showed us when you were doing the Turing things. And we're like, oh, that's awesome, where you can click on white cars and then, oh, I need a sedan or a motorcycle. You know, like, oh, come on. Like, it's all built in, like, for free.
Now, if only they would make better cameras.
Yeah, that's like, I want to use good cameras and then build that into the like, bring those into the, I know there's like some hacks where you can do that, but it doesn't work very long.
Yeah.
But man, it would be so nice if they had some awesome cameras, like with really good, I guess the thing is you just got to buy more cameras. That's what they want.
Actually, I spec'd in the G4 Pros for the first time. I'm excited to give those a shot for a job.
I've done those. They're pretty good. The bullet cameras?
Yeah, I mean, well, they're all kind of bullet cameras, the old ones, I guess. But yeah, the only annoying thing about Ubiquiti, though, is that like their expensive cameras have really awful IR range. And so like this camera for $449 has 50 foot of IR range. And it's just like, that's not good for a camera, especially an outdoor one.
Right.
Like if that was indoors, that would be fine. But it's just so expensive for what it is. And I don't get that feeling with any other Ubiquiti product. Like their access points and routers and stuff like that, I feel like they're such a good price. But like their cameras, I just don't feel like that.
No, yeah, they're definitely a value price, right? For their access points. I mean, they're kind that like basically if something goes wrong with the access point, you don't cry, you just throw it away and buy a new one. This is essentially. But the cameras are just way like if I have one of these, I was just trying to look up what it was. I think it's a G4, and I think I bought it from you, TJ, which is kind of funny that you say that you just bought one. But
they're crap. I sold it to you.
Yeah, exactly. What is this thing? This is a G4 Bullet. Yeah. It's not the Pro though. It's just the regular old G4.
Right.
Yeah. I would classify it as an okay type camera. Like the picture, like I've done the Pros before, and I do like those probably a little bit better than these. So yeah, but it does have all these features, the AI features, the car detection, all that stuff is coming to I think it said G4 and G5 cameras. They're going to update it.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense. No, well, that's what Ubiquiti stuff's good at. I mean, I always recommend the Ubiquiti cameras for people that just don't want to mess with their camera system, because it's literally the best camera software out. You cannot find anything better at the moment.
It sucks, man. It really, I mean, I don't want to use it. I don't like, I'm using the cloud key thing with the hard drive in it.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's horrible. It does lock up from time to time. And I am like so close to just buying the stupid rack mount NVR thing and just calling it a day. I don't want to get that.
What are you using for your router, Seth?
Firewall right now.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm not using Ubiquiti.
Yeah.
For routing or anything like that.
Time to upgrade.
That would be a downgrade.
Okay, time to downgrade.
Yeah, the dream is even would be.
That would be a huge downgrade.
The NVR, I think the NVR. Can you set that up standalone? I think you can. I don't
the
think
NVR, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be a nice little.
I don't know. If you get the NVR, I think you still need a cloud key.
Crud.
I don't think that one's built in, but I've never sold one of those, so I'm not sure.
I've done one before, but it was part of another project. For a while there, it was like you would identify it in, and it would be a standalone project. But I think they figured out, it's at the same IP address. Let's combine these together somehow. But I don't know. I haven't touched those in years. About 4 minutes in, let's just say that there's another little piece of equipment that they're showing off, a little network switch. It's an 8-port PoE called the Switch Ultra.
Ooh.
And yeah, this one's going to take PoEN, powered with PoE++. You get 8 ports PoE out.
That's nice.
Yeah. That one right there is it's going to be like $100. I don't know. The Switch Flex was about the same thing. It was $100. So maybe this one will be $150. It's an instant buy. And then like further on, they show the outdoor enclosure for it, which, kind of seals the deal for those kind of things.
Yep.
Yeah. Instant buy.
Yeah. That looks pretty nice.
And then the little G5 domes that they have a fake tennis ball sitting next to. Those look pretty good too. I'm not going to lie. They look good. I know they're little tiny cameras. The picture quality won't be that great, but.
Well, it's better than their current hardware. The current hardware for the Ubiquiti camera is awful. I mean, they're like the worst cameras to install. I like the fact that the Ethernet cable goes through like the whole assembly and plugs directly into the camera.
That's good.
But like the adjustment of the actual camera and everything, you basically get no adjustment. And so like if you install it under an eave of a house or something like that, like you're not going to be able to move that around that much to actually get a good view. And if you have deep soffits like I do, then you have to install a piece of wood that makes your house look even more janky.
That's why your neighbor's all mad at you.
Yeah, that's why.
Anyway, there's a couple other cool things in here that they'll be releasing or coming out with soon. So there's some access control stuff that looks pretty cool. I'm glad I don't have to deal with it though. More stuff, more fun stuff to buy, I guess. I'm seriously about to buy the stupid NVR thing, because as much as I hate these guys, like the app is so easy to use. The product works really well. I have 2 hard drives already just sitting there doing nothing.
You have all the storage already.
Yeah, I just need the box. So I don't know. If I can get rid of the cloud key, that'd be even better. Finally.
Just buy it. Go for it. Buy it. Let's spend some money. Buy it right now. Live.
Yeah, come on.
I'll
buy it live.
Maybe my second Ubiquiti order this week. All right, let's move on here and talk about things. I don't know. We talked about this before, but about a year ago, Google announced that they were going to be killing off the Dropcam, Dropcam Pro, and Nest Secure, which is the camera, or Nest Secure home security systems on April 8th of this year. And that will be happening. So as the moon passes in front of the sun, Google will be shutting off their servers for these particular products and not letting them in. So when you come on the other side of that eclipse on April 8th, no more Dropcams, no more Dropcam Pros, and Nest Aware subscriptions. All gone. There's also the Nest X Yale locks. You need to get a Nest Connect for that before April 8th to hook into your Wi-Fi, or I guess that thing's dead too. But yeah, there you go. Another, I guess, Google product officially hits the graveyard. Going back way to when Dropcam was one of the first smart cameras out there. Founded in 2009, and they were picked up by Google Nest Labs for $555 million in 2014, which is a whole heck of a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. Another killed by Google project.
I mean, almost, I guess, because the Nest Cams came out of this.
Yeah, that's true.
Those still exist. So
yeah, and they've been around forever now. So they probably haven't sold an actual Dropcam for 5 years or something.
Oh yeah. I think the Nest Cam, let's see when it actually came out, was June 2015. So I guess a year after they bought Dropcam, they came out with them. So yeah, I mean, they probably haven't sold, or you haven't been able to buy one. 2015, 2016? That's a pretty good run for a little internet connected.
Yeah, camera. Especially for how cheap they are,
Yeah. I guess if I get on in the eBay, I'll pick one up and put it in the graveyard. So a whole tub back there full of stuff. One of these days I'll put it out.
Gonna have a shit museum at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Goodbye products. I've got all sorts of fun stuff back there. I've got the old Revolve hub and everything.
Oh,
yeah. I got. There's some stuff in there. Some stuff's not even open. Like there's the Staples Connect hub. I have that unopened. It's prime. It's gonna 20 years from now. If people buy those iPhones, the first generation iPhones, they're gonna be like 20, 30 years from now. They'll be like, oh, a Staples Connect hub. I'll pay you, and it's not even open in the box. It's sealed. I'll pay $150,000 for that.
I don't think you're gonna get that. Keep your hopes up, but $150,000. It's probably costing you more right now to store it than you're gonna get trying to sell it.
Could be right. Right. I'm trying to get one of those little robot things too for years, but I'm gonna have to write that one off. Those things, I forget the name of them. Or not Orbeez. Orbit? I don't remember the name. It was like a little robot. It looks cute, and it was a little companion you could talk to. And people loved them, and all of a sudden the company just killed it one day. Just absolutely killed it the worst possible way. It had a sad face on the screen and would say I'm
That was the little cute one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I like that one. It was just a little one, and yeah, I like that one.
Those stupid things are still $800, retail price. People are still selling those things for $800. I'm I really want one, but I'm not paying $800 for it. A thing that's never going to work again. So I don't know. I guess, I'll take out a home loan or something and buy one or something. One day.
Trade your kid.
It was a cute little device, though. His little head moved around and looked at you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we do have good news. Lifx has introduced 2 new 1600 lumen bulbs that are Matter compatible. They've got some A21 indoor bulb and a PAR 38 indoor-outdoor bulb priced at about $40, respectively. Let's see, $40 and $35, respectively. And sold exclusively through Home Depot. And these bulbs offer big old tons of brightness, 1600 lumens of brightness. And basically, if you need a Wi-Fi connected, Matter driven, outdoor security bulb, this might be for you, Gavin. You wouldn't have had to done your whole project if you just use these bulbs, right?
Well, not really, because
but you don't have RGBW, Gavin, do you?
No, but the whole reason I turned my camera floodlights into Z-Wave was to use the associations, so they're not affected by things like Wi-Fi outages or anything. They still work perfectly. If I went with these Matter, I'd still have to go through the hub. Or I don't know if Matter has their equivalent of associations out yet. I don't think they do. I think they were announcing it, but I don't know if they ever released it. But if they did, then yeah, this would be so much easier where you could just pair a Matter switch with this and not have to go through a hub. The only problem is a lot of those camera floodlights, they have like, they don't use standard bulbs in them. So you'd still have to open it up, rip out the bulb, rewire part of the inside. So the bulb's always connected and then you can control it. But I like what I did.
Yeah, this is high voltage too. It's not low voltage. Like on those cameras, they have low voltage LEDs. These are high voltage, like screw in par 38 A21s. Like
I converted mine to high voltage LED bulbs anyway, right? So I rewired the inside so it was pulling from the 120 and not from the output, the low voltage output from the camera, right? So you still got to do a little rewiring, but it's so worth it with associations now. So much faster and so much more reliable.
These, I mean, like you said, not probably don't have the association things, but they also rely on Wi-Fi, so you have to have pretty strong Wi-Fi signal outside. Yeah.
So my whole point was to get around Wi-Fi issues and stuff like that, and now these are back on Wi-Fi, so
doesn't do anybody any good.
I guess in the right application, these might be okay, but they wouldn't be my first go-to for this kind of thing. I'd still steer towards like what you're doing with either Z-Wave or
Zigbee or something like that.
Zigbee or some other, even a Bluetooth thing that had a internet like this, the SwitchBot stuff, like something like that.
Matter right now is still not the most reliable thing for me.
I just don't trust Wi-Fi.
Well, just Matter in general. I still, it's gotten a lot better. But I still see Matter devices that drop off randomly. Mm-hmm. But it's getting better.
Well, that's all we can ask for, I guess. So
my Lifx Matter over Wi-Fi has been pretty reliable since I did the update on it. So knock on wood.
I know that the Matter over Wi-Fi is probably better than some of the other, like Matter over Thread or whatever that we've been seeing problems with, Gavin.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't want. I have so many things on the Wi-Fi right now. I just don't want point devices like that. I'd preferably use something else. Like, it is convenient. It's easy to hook up. It's easy to install. Everybody has a Wi-Fi network. I always steer towards something else, which I don't have anything other than, I have Zigbee with Control 4 Zigbee. So there you go. All right. Well, congratulations, Lifx. You do Matter this week. So we appreciate it. Bringing us some news and talking about Matter. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/476. All right. We actually I don't really have a pick of the week this week. I have to dig one up while we're talking about this, but we do have a couple mailbox items and things to talk about. We got some listener feedback from Scott in Adelaide. And if you don't know where Adelaide is, you should, especially if you live in a Commonwealth country.
Well, I had to ask, but there's probably an Adelaide, Ohio, right? Like Ohio has
Adelaide. More than likely.
Adelaide. Ohio has one of everything. Let's see if there's an Adelaide, Ohio.
We collect them like we're British. There is not an Adelaide, Ohio.
Oh man, we got to put up a petition. We got to get a GoFundMe started. We need an Adelaide, Ohio. Well, it's a city in Australia, so let's go with that one.
It's a city in Australia.
It's a city, yeah.
One of them. One of 12.
It's
not very important.
Let's educate people on Adelaide, Australia today, because we covered other
What do you know
states.
about Adelaide, Australia?
It's the capital of Australia and one of the largest cities.
Oh, yeah, Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm looking at Wikipedia now.
I looked at the same article.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, that's very pretty. Oh.
All anybody knows is, Sydney, Australia. And then the only address anybody knows is what? P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way. Sydney, Australia. There you go.
But that's awesome that we got an Australian listener, Well, just for that, we're going to answer this question.
maybe, Scott. So maybe, yeah. Scott writes in. He says, I'm planning on starting a new backyard garden, but there won't be a lawn. There will be a number of garden beds and some pots. You'll be running power cables for lights and maybe a pond pump. But can you recommend a hardwired soil moisture monitoring system, ideally smart with Home Assistant compatibility? And once we hit lawn tech, I have to step out because I don't know anything about this. You should see my lawn right now. I mean, the Clippy is taking a nap and it's not very good. So
yeah. I've never looked into hardwired ones seriously. I've always looked at the wireless ones. I'm assuming you don't have an irrigation system, so you don't have a controller, because, for somebody that had a controller at the Ratio, they have recommended hardwired soil moisture sensors that you can wire in, and it looks like it does support more than one. So you could have worked with that and look at their list. But I have seen on the forums where people were making their own using ESP32s with a soil moisture sensor and wiring it all up and tying it into Home Assistant. And that's, honestly, I would go to the forums on Home Assistant and search this, because there's a lot of information on what people have done there. And they're hardwired for the most part. They're hardwired for power, I think, not hardwired for the signal. I think they still work over Wi-Fi. Other people, that ask this, when they start getting into large areas of land and stuff like that, they were looking at industrial options. They got more expensive because, you had to have bigger distances, ranges, etc., etc. But I'd start on the forums. The forums are full of information about people that have created their own using an ESP32 board. They would 3D print a case, they would buy the sensor, and they're relatively cheap.
The hardwired, like there's one on Amazon here, soil humidity sensor. This is made by Jeffergarden. It's $31, and it's a hardwired thing, so you got to hook it up to something, but it's got RS-45 output. Yes. So,
yeah.
I mean, can't get any better than that. That's pretty cool.
And there's two different types of sensors, too. There's capacitive and resistive, and one's better than the other, and I highly recommend you read up on the two differences, because it will sway your decision into which one you buy, because one seems to be better than the other. And then, have fun just making your own. Like, this is one of those projects.
Yeah, I like this one here, this Davis soil moisture sensor. I'll put a link to it in our show notes as well. But this one, like, it looks like the ones I've seen, and the ones you have them because they're not wireless; they stick up out of the ground or whatever. But the ones I've seen everywhere else, like there's two prongs, or there's a big stick that you stick down on the ground. Look at this thing. This thing is like, you bury it in the ground.
Yeah, this one though, this looks pretty good, but you're still going to need like something to read the signal.
Right.
So that's where people would put something like this in the ground. They'd have on the other end of it an ESP32 board, right? And, they'd use ESP Home, and that would translate the signal into an entity in Home Assistant, and you go from there, right?
Wow. So, you want to know what their IP gateway costs, though?
No.
$650.
Yeah. So there's a lot of options out there, but you're going to end up having to spin something yourself, I think, when you go hardwired, because the sensors are one thing, but you need something that will take that data, translate it, and then give it to Home Assistant.
This thing can accept up to 32 of those sensors.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yep. Hardwired always tends to be a little more expensive in some ways, and then less expensive in others, like batteries and upkeep and that kind of thing. Especially you can bury this into the ground. You don't have to worry about it anymore. That would be a killer feature. You just have all this stuff kind of just planted in the ground. You can mow your lawn without, worrying about them.
Yeah.
But at this, at the same time, like, and I guess like this thing will read quite a bit. It reads intervals, I guess with every 5 minutes or something like that. So I guess this one they charge a fee for, but this is right for hacking, and just use the sensors and go with ESP32 like you said.
Yeah.
So
in my area, I only put it out for 6 months of the year. So the batteries last for that. So, when I take them in and I put them out the next year, I'll see the batteries. I'll change the ones that need to be changed before I put them out anyways. Right. I don't leave them in the ground. So to me, battery wasn't as much of an issue. Hardwiring it in my area, I'd have to trench and run wires, and I wasn't getting into that.
Right. Yep. No, I totally understand. And the same goes for like wires inside the house. Like if you're doing security systems, sometimes it's easier and quicker and cheaper to just go around and put up wireless sensors. And I know many security companies that have like fought that battle over the years. It's like, no, hardwired sensors, like we'll put them in when the house is built. And you do, and then ADT comes along and just puts in wireless sensors everywhere. Yep. They don't even bother using the hardwire.
I'm one of those people too. Don't hate me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand it. It's faster, and like you get them in a kit and you're done. Like you don't have to worry about it. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there's this industrial route you can go. Man, this stuff looks really cool though. They have this solar powered wireless sensor transmitter for $245. It's solar powered and has a 9-month battery backup.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. We got a lot of cool stuff.
You get the cool stuff with the price, right?
Well, it is important to note too that they do charge an activation fee and an annual service plan. So you do have to pay long term for this specific solution, but not if you use those soil sensors because they're just hardwired. So
right. Somebody's probably figured out how to reverse engineer whatever those soil sensors. Anyway, agriculture. I feel like ordering one and doing that, but I've got too many projects. I haven't a server job.
Too many projects, Seth. Don't do it.
My grass can stay brown because no one cares, evidently. All right. We had somebody in Canada post about a camera question. So Gavin, I will let you read his name.
Wait. What are you dropping this on me for?
I'm going to butcher your name. Iango? It's a common Canadian name, I'm told.
Let's go with Ilongo.
Ilongo. There we go.
Is that LL or IL?
I have no idea. I can't tell.
Really? Do I have to convert it to lowercase? Will he hate us if we pronounce it wrong?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He supports the show, so he's awesome.
Oh, well, just in case we pronounce this wrong, I'm going to go with Ilongo, but we still love you. Don't hate us.
Well, a couple of days, he asked a pretty good question in the hub. And we wanted to bring it up here. He said, "Hi all, I'm in Canada. I need some advice for some IP security cameras. So I'll be installing 8 cameras, 7 in the yard and 1 in the garage." He says, "My installer uses Hikvision for their non-Control 4 projects. They sent me a DS blah, 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 blah. It's basically a 4 megapixel turret camera as a suggested model. He wants to, in the end, integrate these into Apple Secure Video via Hoobs. And he wants to have options in the future to go different directions if he wanted to. He says, for now, the NVR software will be fine. Also, Hikvision is pretty sourced here through his installer or elsewhere. But he's not tied to Hikvision, but also at the same time, perfectly fine with them. So his question is Hikvision okay? Or should we be looking for something else? And he lists out some other specs. There's a pretty big thread in there, a couple of replies, but it was a good question. 8 camera system. He's gonna have an installer put it in. What should he look at? Gavin, what should he do?
Well, first of all, my thoughts of you're looking at 4 megapixels versus 8 megapixel cameras, and you want to feed those into Apple Secure Video. Isn't that going to be a lot of bandwidth uploading? You're going to be sending these feeds constantly to Apple Secure Video through Hoops, right? Because Apple Secure Video then...
I don't think it matters right now, though.
It depends on what your internet connection is, too, especially if you got 8 of them, right? So you got to keep that in mind. You're going to be uploading constantly 24 hours a day. I would keep an eye on that for one. And then your Hoobs may have to process. I can't remember if it actually does any processing. If you're doing it through Hoobs or if it just passes the raw signal. But if it's going to be doing FFmpeg, you either want a GPU to do all that for you or have a powerful enough PC. Like, this is kind of why I went with a local solution, but
yeah, just
2 things to keep in mind. In terms of actual cameras, I'm not the best person to speak on cameras, right? I think I'd leave that for TJ, but I always remember this one video I saw on YouTube, and I cannot remember for the life of me, but he always pointed out having the right camera for the right need in your house. So he always pointed out, like, at your front door, for example, you wanted clarity. You wanted certain things for close up because the person's right there. Where on your garage, you may want a wide camera to capture, a license plate. You want it clear enough to capture the license plate. There were certain things he said. There were some that you would just want to detect motion, where others you wanted to actually be able to detect a face. Right. So you kind of, always made me think of that. I always remember that when it comes to cameras. Figure out where you're going to put it and find the right camera for that position. I never fell for the 4 megapixel, 8 megapixel hype because I've also seen comparison videos where they had a 2 megapixel image that looked better than a 4 megapixel camera. Right. There's a lot more to it than just the megapixels. I think there was like the sensor size and other factors that made lower megapixels actually clearer. One thing TJ showed me this, and I'm looking for one myself, but the Starlight cameras, it's amazing at night what the clarity you get with those. So if you could get a camera with a Starlight sensor, go with that for nighttime. They're just amazing. But other than that, I don't have any comments on Hikvision. TJ's more of a hardware guy when it comes to cameras, and I'll leave it to him.
Yeah, I think honestly the Hikvision, whatever you want to call it, I always call it Hikvision. The cameras themselves, like hardware wise, are really good, and they're pretty cheap for what they are. So you really can't go wrong. There's the whole Chinese camera thing that people always talk about. But honestly, like most cameras are manufactured in China. I think it's basically like Hanwha,
It's the Korean one, yeah.
Axis, and somebody else. Yeah, that does not make cameras in China. Everybody else pretty much makes cameras in China. And so, like, if you're going to go for, like, affordability, like, you don't have many options in that regard.
Right.
But it's just something to, take note of if you care about that kind of thing. The Starlight sensor that Gavin is talking about really does make a big difference. And that's the reason I switched away from Ubiquiti cameras. Our backyard, for example, does not have any lights. We have some, like, Ring solar wall mounted lights, but not like enough to like light up the whole yard or anything. And you can definitely tell the difference between like the Ubiquiti cameras that don't have the Starlight sensor and my $200 camera that has the Starlight sensor. Like it's pretty much color night vision. And typically when you see, night vision on a camera, it's that black and white image that, is pretty much every camera. This is pretty like vibrant in color. And so there's a big difference. Every manufacturer calls theirs something different. And so Hikvision calls theirs Color View. Uniview, which is another good Chinese camera company, they call theirs like Dark Hunter.
Light Hunter.
But it's all basically, Light Hunter, is that what it is?
Yeah.
That makes sense. But that does make a big difference. 8 megapixel cameras are good if you're getting like further away. But I don't know. It's just one of those things that just like Gavin said, you really want to pick a camera that works best for the position, not just buy the same camera over and over again, even though that will work. You just get better mileage.
Yeah. One of the things you asked here about which lens to use, I noticed, and when to use a 2.8, which is more of a wide lens, and a 4 is not exactly a zoomed in lens, but it's a little bit more zoomed in than the 2.8. So like the lower that number is, the wider generally the angle of the lens is going to be. And further away, you're going to see less detail than you will like up close if somebody's walking up next to the camera. So just kind of get that idea. And if it's a real zoomed in camera, with a 100 millimeter lens or something, you're looking very far down the road at that point. So, but most cameras are going to be 2.8, 4, 6. I think that's most of them are in there. Most of the like the Eufy cams are going to be wide angle lens because they're not interested in seeing anything other than what you kind of have the camera nearby. So I don't think you can go wrong with a wide angle lens, especially the ones that are looking around the yard, unless you had something that you like specifically wanted to look at and zoom in a little bit more too. You could do that. And then some of the cameras, Hikvision or like Daua, I know most every manufacturer has what's called a varifocal lens, and it's not like a PTZ, but it's like the Z part. Like it does a pan or tilt, like you fix it, and then you can kind of zoom it in to where between 2.8 and 12 or something millimeter focus, and generally that if you don't know, that's the way to go. But those are more expensive because they have a little motor inside there, or if they're not motorized, you got to turn a screw or something on the back and when you set them. So it just depends on what kind of camera you're getting. But I mean, staying outside of Ubiquiti or something like that gives you the maximum flexibility. I was looking while Gavin was talking because he brought up a great point about HomeKit secure video and 8 cameras on 8 megapixels. That's capped at 1080p, I guess. So whatever you have, like Hoobs, whatever's running Hoobs is going to have to convert that to 1080p, which may put some load at, there's 8 cameras doing 8 megapixels, or there's like a substring or something that
it's going to put load on, because when you have an 8 megapixel camera, more than likely that's an H.265 stream, which once you start getting into Hoobs, it's probably going to have to decode it, re-encode it, upload it to HomeKit secure video, etc., right? Like, yeah, that is going to add, I probably wouldn't leave that for my CPU to do. It's probably you'll need a GPU to handle that.
Some of the cameras have 2 and 3 streams that you can pull off of it, which, you can use, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you're only ever going to see 1080p from HomeKit Secure Video.
Exactly.
You're not going to see the 8K benefits. So if that's the direction you really want to go, then the 4K cameras are probably fine. If you're going to stick with the Hikvision or some other NVR solution, get the more megapixels. It'll last a little bit longer. And I think the Eufy cameras, I did like a quick search while you were talking, Gavin. Somebody mentioned that when they added 2 or 4 Eufy indoor cameras in, those are 2K. So what is that, 1080p ish?
Yep.
That added about 200 gigabits onto their internet bill that month as streaming out. So something to keep in mind. It will, if you have any data caps, keep in mind on that, because 8 cameras is more than 4. So if they are streaming out, it's going to cost a little bit more. And I say screw it, just go to Unify, because
just accept Blue Iris. That's what you got to do.
There you go. Yeah.
And then never use your camera system again. That's what I do.
Oh man, the Unify thing though, it's like it records it locally. It'll be there. It's a known quantity, a known price. The interface is the best interface you're going to get. If you wanted to, you could still integrate it through Hoobs or whatever, because there is an integration to bring that video into the HomeKit Secure Video. Like it's not the end of the world. Just the cameras are not as good as what you might get from. It's probably on par. I did look up the specs of that camera he posted, and that's just kind of your basic run of the mill Hikvision camera. Like you can do better for sure, but I think it's probably on the lower end of what they offer. And it doesn't cost much more to go with Hikvision. It doesn't, and all the Chinese brands, like it's the difference between a few dollars to go maybe for each camera to go to like a way better camera with better analytics or a better sensor, or that, again, the night vision, that kind of thing. But I don't know. Like I keep going back to Unify. It's like every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in, that type of situation. Like that vehicle detection looks sweet, man. I'm just going to sit there and point it at my street. I don't care what cars are driving. I don't care who pulls in. Like, I just want to know what car. I'm at the little search filter and find the yellow cars. Like, oh, that looks so cool.
And my only other thoughts is if you stick with one brand, the good thing is if you're going to use their MVR, their app, you have a single app, single MVR, it all works. Whereas if you split up your brands, you may have separate apps, separate MVRs, unless you use something like Blue Iris. I had to throw that in there. You may want to ensure that they have multiple streams. They can do multiple streams. You might want to ensure if OnVIF is something you want, look at that, see if they're compatible, and shop around. The only reason I say this is because the company you mentioned, I always find is a little more pricey.
Ooh.
I know where they are. I've ordered from them before, but they're not the cheapest. If you're going to order a large number, it might save you money just to order it off, the US Amazon and pay the duties and everything. And the shipping, and you save some money there, but shop around too for the price.
Yeah, you won't get those sweet Hikvision chips there. Like Canada's got the nice stuff that we don't get in the States because
that's true. Yeah. If anything, have your installer put the wires in, and then, if they put PoE wire and they do all the hard work, then all you go do is you just go mount the camera and plug it in and
you can swap them out.
Yeah, swap them out and do the fun stuff. Make him do the hard work.
I will say, good on camera manufacturers for supporting OnVIF, because if you have an OnVIF compatible camera, which Hikvision probably, I'm just going to say it probably is, wave my hand and say, yeah, it is. You could switch the NVR out to something else, later on that's OnVIF compatible, and just it'll pull in the stream just fine, 99.999% of the time. That used to be a much more of a problem where you'd have two different brands, NVR and a camera, and like getting them to work together was a nightmare, or you'd have to use like the D1 stream out of it to get into it was just all these horrible workarounds. But now it is a lot better. You can have multiple brands of different types of cameras on the job site, and generally they will all kind of standardize on one thing and go in. But you do get the more embedded integrations or direct integrations between cameras on the same brand. Like I know with Uniview, you can bring in it makes it easier because they just use the same API, and you can bring in the the analytics and do events based off on those. You can set all that up right in the NVR itself. I think Dahua and Amcrest and Hikvision all have kind of the same thing, where it just kind of gives you one interface to kind of go into and make all those adjustments, and it pushes it out to the camera, so you don't have to log into each camera, set that stuff up. You can do it right on the NVR software. So yeah, you have plenty of options. I think you're headed down the right track by sticking with probably a main brand like that. And your options are definitely open no matter what you do. Like if you went with anything that we've mentioned here so far, except Eufy, you're going to have options down the road because you'll have the RTSP string that you can pull the video from and put into something else if you want to later on, or the OnVIF compatible stream coming off of these cameras. You can move around and change however you want to do that later on really easily. So glad somebody's putting hardwired cameras in. That's awesome.
When you come to Canada, TJ, because I want you to run all my camera wires.
Never. Sorry.
I have that on my list assigned to you. You don't know yet, but it's assigned to you.
Oh, good.
Right. So the TJ, in the Seth column, it's just update the damn server. TJ column, run my wires.
Yeah, why do I get the hard one? That's messed up. Maybe this winter.
My basement's open, so I mean it's pretty easy to run the wires up into the attic. Actually,
I can't go in the winter time because you guys have real winter.
Oh yeah,
I have to go in the summer. That's the only time I'll be able to stand it.
We have real summer too.
I don't know what that means for Canada.
Hot.
It does get hot up there.
Yeah, it does. Anyways, let's get back to the show.
All right. I got a pick of the week here, courtesy of TJ and his, I don't know, is this Facebook feed or something?
Yeah, it's Facebook.
You found the Yeetie M12 Pro Plus robot vacuum. It's probably the greatest suction power yet. This is the craziest ad. Like, why would they write that?
Ad. It's probably the greatest suction ever.
I guess we're talking about it, so I guess it served its purpose. But
yeah, definitely did its job.
Yeah.
11,000 PA.
Pascals.
That's a lot. I think it's like 3 times what my vacuum has. I suck my cats up.
I mean, how do they measure that? Like, is it something like, is Consumer Reports or the Wirecutter, if they're still in business, going out and checking the suction on the Pascal suction? Like, how do they do this?
I bet they do. Buy a little suction device like they use for like tornadoes and whatever else, and there's just some guy in a lab,
like they had on the movie Twister. They just put a bunch of these little things, ball bearings on the floor.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's kind of like the toilet ads where it says how many pool balls it'll suck up. That's actually what they do. Is they just get pool balls or raisins or something and see how fast it sucks them all up.
Wasn't you? We were talking about that. See, you're getting deep into the hub lore.
Yeah. See, this is why you want to get on Patreon, support the show, and get invited to the hub, because you
would know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, toilet flushing and how many golf balls equal
Bananas.
A pool ball. Yeah, it's good times.
Yep, join the hub. That's it. All right. Well, we'll put up. Well, I'm just going to make this the show art. It's probably the greatest suction power yet. That's confidence booster right there. Well, if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, quick project updates. I don't have much going on. My Tempest hub got booted out of the main part of the house, and it's sitting in the garage here, but it's within distance, surprisingly enough, to whatever. I think it's Bluetooth, right? It's a Bluetooth bridge. So it's in plenty. It's working every day. The things open and close. I did see there was an error on it that said the magnet things, or it couldn't detect the magnets. I don't know what that's about. They were closed. Looked like it worked fine to me. So I'm going to let that go. We'll see if it happens again tomorrow. But I did get those solar panel things, and I plugged those in, and it looks like it says everything's good and it's fully charged. And so we'll see how long that lasts. And then over to my weather station, the Tempest. So we were talking about this, and you guys have the other version. What's it called? The EcoWit?
EcoWit.
Yeah. I wrote these guys. I forgot to look up when I bought this thing, but I wrote these guys over the weekend, and literally over like during Easter, they were texting or sending me emails like, "Hey, can you give us an order number?" And I didn't catch that until like Monday morning. I send the order number, boom, on top of it. It looks like it has a failure. We're just going to send you another one. And then I was reading the thing. It's like, no need to send this guy back. Like, you can just keep it, dispose of it as you want. And I can throw this away and I'll have a new weather station. So yeah, I cannot give them more praise for a cool little product and everything. Like, it's awesome when you buy a weather station and a year or two later, they're just like, yeah, it's warranted. There you go. Have another one.
Nice.
Yeah. I can't complain. I love companies.
Painless too, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, emailing me back over a holiday weekend, like, I was not expecting that. Like, they were emailing me on Saturday and Sunday, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, why are you emailing me on the weekend in the first place? You guys need to take a break. And it's a holiday weekend, like, take a big break. And then, like, yeah, I'm impressed. Good company.
I love good service like that, you know. It makes you want to buy their products more. Like, I remember when I had issues with Eero and even with Ring, I think before Amazon got them, like, I would just call them and they would ship me out a new one and I'd ship them back the old one.
Yep.
And it was like so easy. It was like, listen,
that was before Amazon bought them. Trust me.
It was like, yeah, I have an issue with my Ring. Oh, sir, we'll send you a new one. It's like, you don't want to know what it is? No, we'll just send you a new one. Okay, done. Even the most recent one was with Unify. Shockingly, you know, I know people have a lot of bad stories, but I went through their support with my Dream Machine router. And they shipped me out a new one and I swapped it in and I sent them back the old one. And, you know, it was pain free. I can't comment on what other people have, issues they have, but I had a pretty good dealing with them.
Did you use the chat or email support for that?
I just used email. I just emailed support and I said, hey, my Dream Machine's doing this. I see on Reddit others have been reporting it. They mentioned, swapping it out. And I said, can you ship me a new one? I even told them, I go, I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
And you can refund me when I send the old one if you want. They're like, no. And they just shipped it out. Within a couple of days, I got it. I swapped it in, did a backup restore, packed up the old one and sent it back. And I was happy.
Yeah, I've had mostly good experiences with their support. I know there other people haven't, but I can't really complain about when I needed support and use their email support or whatever. I think they like sent like a PoE. I think it actually is the PoE that you have now, TJ. That one, like I got it swapped out, but the client needed one immediately, so they just overnighted one. And I was like, well, I'll check out this thing. And turns out it was under warranty. So I just sat on it for a few years and he's gone now. He moved, so he doesn't need it anymore. TJ's got it.
It's mine.
Yeah. Mine. You can't have it back.
It's deafening in the laundry room, but it still works.
Just keep adding more stuff to it. It just gets louder and louder.
Now I just need to add a bunch of PoE stuff. I have all this power, all these ports. I don't have anything to do with it. So you get like 30 access points.
With great power comes great responsibility, TJ. That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say.
TJ, we have here that you cleaned up the house, so that's great. Good job on your projects.
Super exciting this week. We're the family is visiting from Florida, from Seth's neck of the woods almost, and from Orlando. And so we got the house all cleaned up and finally got the bedroom put together. We bought a new bed. And we're staying in the bedroom again, which is nice because now I can go in the office at 6 a.m. and work on my computer.
Nice.
So that is what I did this week. Nothing too fun.
Gavin, what are you up to?
Oh, no. So I warned you last week, or actually it was this week, but this show's getting released next week. So, but anyways, on the last episode, I talked about Home Assistant, the beta, the new features, and it was finally released. I upgraded and I've been redesigning my dashboards. Now, listeners, you can let us know how you're using the labels and stuff, but man, the addition of labels, categories, floors has really changed my dashboard setup amazingly. So now my dashboards are all dynamic. So now all I do is I get a new device. I put the entity in an area. I assign it a label such as like area temperature. And now it gets automatically added to the dashboards in the areas and everywhere it's supposed to be added without me having to go through and edit 20 different dashboards. So I've been pretty much spending my time rewriting a bunch of my code in my dashboards to now accommodate all this stuff. And I'm loving it because it just makes creation so much better.
Nice. Yeah, we were playing around with that a little bit before the show. And the only label I could come up with was stuff that doesn't work.
And you put your two devices in it.
Yeah, you only have two automations. It's funny when Seth was like, oh, I can organize my automations. I was like, Seth, you probably have like 3 automations. He has 2 automations. That's
you gave him too much credit.
Too much credit.
Yeah, my bad. I was trying to be nice.
One of them doesn't even work. It's It's not my fault. And maybe it is Home Assistant's fault. I don't know. I think they maintain the Shelly integration, but like for whatever reason, the Shelly buttons have stopped working with Home Assistant. There's a bug in the Shelly repository talking about it. And it hasn't been working, since I update constantly, like every week. It hasn't been working for months. So I would really like my little button to work one of these days. I don't know. Not working anymore.
I am interested, though, if you listen to the podcast and you use Home Assistant, I guess, or any other automation system, I want you to take a screenshot of what your automation page looks like and send it in, feedback@HomeTech.fm. I want to see how everybody names their stuff. Gavin and I kind of name ours similarly. We'll put ours in the show notes as well. But I'm just kind of interested in how everybody names their stuff and what it looks like. So just take a screenshot and send it to us. You don't need to submit yours, Seth. You only have 2, so you're good.
And they were like named Test 1 and Test 2. So I don't.
You can name it.
Real names.
You should just create a category for your 2 automations and name it Do Not Work.
This automation's name is Bill.
Yeah.
This is Mary.
But no, if you haven't upgraded to the latest Home Assistant, I highly recommend it. They added one of the most requested features in organization, automation, so many possibilities with it. Upgrade today.
Well, I'm taking that advice and updating off of the beta. I don't know how I got onto the release version. I've got to turn this beta thing off. I don't want to test their software.
Not this one.
Jeez, my button doesn't work. I really want this button to work. It turns on off a light that I need a button for. I'll probably just take this and integrate it directly. I think you can do like Shelly to Shelly device talking things now. I think I'll probably just do that because I have a bunch of the Shelly plug things left over from Christmas time. So I'll finally kill off the Wemo, the last standing Wemo switch that Robert Spivak freaks out about every time I tell him it's still in my house.
Yeah, get rid of that. Yeah. Do yourself a favor.
All right. Dashboards, house cleaning, weather stations. What a productive week, guys. Sounds
it was also Easter weekend too, right? Like the one weekend when you get together with family and solve all their IT problems.
Oh, good time of year.
Yeah, I had a great time showing my sister how to swap a hard drive.
Oh.
So I made her do it herself. So now she's like a pro at swapping hard drives.
Very nice. Very nice. That doesn't sound very fun, actually.
well, you see, she was the thing is she has a laptop from 2012, and she was complaining that it was so slow, and she was gonna throw it out and buy a new one. I said, hey, no,
SSD,
instant. Like it's amazing how many people go and buy a new hard drive when the solution to the problem is just put in an SSD.
Yep.
So I showed her how to do it. She did it, and she's like it. She's in love with her laptop because she likes her laptop, right? It was just slow because it was using a spinner. So, SSD is the solution and to old hardware. Now it doesn't run Windows 11, because Microsoft realized that you throw in an SSD and you keep hardware longer. So let's force them to upgrade their hardware now to get Windows 11. Well, I know there's more to it than that, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, if it's working and it, don't break it.
Exactly.
You don't have to throw it away. Like I still have like an old Mac, like one of those plastic white MacBooks. This is like one of the first I bought it used from like this guy on eBay or something. I don't remember. Or Craigslist. And then like it lasted forever. And then it finally got really slow. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing that I sat there and waited for this thing to boot up. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I can copy this hard drive easily enough over to an SSD. Boom. It's like a brand new computer that I can't use because it's 32-bit and you can't even download Chrome or Internet Explorer. Firefox doesn't even work anymore. It won't even load. So, you can't even use the internet on a computer of that. I mean, I'm sure there's a way I could hack around it, but yeah.
Sometimes you just got to give up.
Yeah, that one I gave up on because it just like doesn't load anything. So maybe I'll give it to my daughter. She won't go on the internet with it. She could just learn to use a Mac, I guess. So there we go. All right. We want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather in there and talk about setting up a camera system or, whatever you want to talk about in there.
How to measure flushing toilets.
Flushing toilets. Maybe you want to see what vacuum cleaner sucks this week. You're going to find out there in the Hub. You're going to find out. So
the place to be.
It is the place to be, and
just costs money.
It costs a little bit of money.
$1.
It keeps that one server running.
$1, Bob.
If you want to help out but can't support the show financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap up another week here on HomeTech. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time. Ooh, that price, though.
No. I mean, $85. Like, it's not bad. Hold on a second. Let me post it in here.
My current ones are only $20, and they're wireless.
Yeah, but you don't have to change batteries, TJ. And this one...
Well, and he's in Australia, too. Or they're in Australia, so...
Yeah. You just invert the price. That's all. It's $58 there.
I don't think that's how that works.
Huh. Still, the water goes the other way in the toilet, too.